crimes, hellhounds. This sounds like nerve gas, backlash, black mass, wolf pack, tone deaf, phone sex, slow death, hopeless, last call, street brawl, speedball, free fall, baptized, black ice, chastise, last rites. Hey, this sounds like, hey, this sounds like, hey, this sounds like, hey, this sounds like bad vibes, war crimes, hellhounds. This sounds like bad vibes, war crimes, hellhounds. This sounds like bad vibes.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Episode 225, UFC Bad Vibes. Meat Boy MMA, don't worry. If you're here, you're early. Grill your steaks, get comfortable. DIY lock since 2020. And last week, Meat Boy was UFC Dust. We're going to quickly recap what went down last week. It was another L of a meat lock. So if you're uninterested in this recap, head straight to the timestamps if you want this week's locks for UFC Bad Vibes. But nonetheless, Meat Boy, it was an apex ripper, an absolute duster. Not our finest hour, admittedly. Your boy went 1-4. You went 2-3. The meat lock did not cash. The micro lock did, but basically nothing else went our way. So what'd you make of UFC Dust? And were you surprised by the L of a meat lock and our boy Rabisti getting kind of low-key smoked by Chris Duncan? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, Chris Duncan absolutely smoked him. That was truly unfortunate. Did not see that coming. Don't really have much to say on it. Truly unfortunate though.
Yeah, truly unfortunate for sure. It was a war, and Chris Duncan is quite good, so no shame on that, I suppose. Perhaps we'll need to sort of pump the brakes a little bit on the Rabisti hype train, because the dude is as tough as they come, but man, does he eat a lot of damage, and at the end of every fight, his face is like a balloon, so not ideal. Micro lock hit. We both said Rodolfo Vieira would get it done. Easy light work over Tresean Gore. That was simple. Neil Magny had a sort of resurgent performance, picked up a beautiful finish over Alicio Dos Santos. We both picked Dos Santos in that one, so cool to see Neil Magny get back in the winner's column and get back to his finishing ways because it had been a while. And then the co-meet was Ribovics versus Brenner. Close fight, but Ribovics obviously did enough to win the fight. I want to get your thoughts on the main event, though. It was Tatsuro Taira versus my boy Park Hyun-sung, who I unfortunately picked. I thought he'd be way more competitive in that fight, but he got absolutely smoked. How good is Taira, and do you see Taira making a run for the title, if not this year, then early next year? What are your thoughts on Taira's ceiling?
Yeah, no, Tyra might be a future go. He's leveled up big time. Took a loss and now he's bounced back, looking better than ever. So excited to see where he goes. But yeah, he's here to stay. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's here to say clearly it was too much too soon for Park Hyun-sung. Curious to see what's next for him. But nonetheless, that's kind of it, Meat Boy. The Duster's in the rear view. You trying to swap us through to this week UFC Bad Vibes at the Apex?
Yep, let's get right into the lock.
Yeah, move us through then. You see the text. Last week we missed it, right? We took Rabisti over Chris Duncan, and this week we're not missing the Chris Duncan. It's the Revenge Duncan, the Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD licensed Duncan meatlock variety, and we think it's easy light work victory over Eric Anders this week. Obviously the odds aren't great, right? That's the best place to start. Minus 560, nothing really to love there for CLD license, and plus 370 is your boy Eric Anders, but your boy is nearly 40. He's, I guess you can say, a well-rounded MMA fighter, but at this point in their career, 31-year-old peak CLD license should have the grappling defense necessary for stopping the Eric Anders onslaught, and obviously will have the stand-up advantage when the fight is there as well. So clearly odds aren't great, but we missed a Chris Duncan meatlock last week, and we won't do it 2 weeks in a row. So what are your thoughts on this meatlock? What do you like about CLD over Eric Anders? And is he going to go out there and absolutely finish easy light work ya boy in the first round?
Yeah, your boy is getting snuffed. That is for sure. This is another lock. First round, easy light work.
Yeah, I see this being an early finish for CLD, and it's going to be good for him to get back to his finishing ways, because this was a guy who was going out there and finishing everyone, right? I mean, I think there was a lot of positives to take away from his recent victory over Andre Puliev. I mean, Puliev just fought 3 days ago and absolutely got an easy light work, beautiful finish. So good win. That's probably going to age nicely, and that was a decision. But prior to that decision, I mean, CLD license was going out there and absolutely finishing everyone easy light work, right? Whether it was Claudio Ribeiro, Dennis Tululin, or even Dusko Todorovic. And obviously, these are all bad fighters, but Eric Anders, I think, falls right into the comparable level with those guys as well. So I see this being another easy light work finish for him as well. Tapology is overwhelmingly bullish. They're riding the meatlock this week. They're taking the Duncanator. 93% going with CLD, only 7. Friends and family rolling with Eric Anders, but there is a majority base for the CLD Duncan decision. Any chance that this does go all 15 minutes, or would that be a serious shocker to you if it did?
You know, I I don't think it would be a serious shocker, but I do think it is a round one finisher.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know in the comments if obviously you're rolling with CLD. He's getting this one done for the meatlock, but do you think he's going to get it done by finish, or does this go the distance like Tapology is suggesting? Either way, we're keeping it simple, throwing down an easy 560 to net 100. Again, obviously the odds are not great, but let's get a free meatlock. Let's get this ship back on the wave, because we had 4 straight meatlocks. We were going on an absolute tear, and last 2 weeks, meat boy, we're sort of getting burned at the grill a little bit. So let's get back on track. Easy light work. I'll go CLD officially. I'm gonna say by second round finish. I do think he gets back to his finishing ways, and I see this fight being non-competitive. So CLD Duncan for the meatlock. The right Duncan. Any last thoughts on the meatlock?
No, this is just another one of those meat locks.
Another one of those meatlocks, indeed. Get us back on track. Swap us through, meat boy, though, because this one is actually interesting. It's Gene Matsumoto taking on Miles Johns, and Matsumoto was hype beasts, all the rage, right? Coming in, absolute killer, and ran into Fob Ront. And it was a fight that was very competitive, but ultimately the judges gave the nod to Fob Ront at about a plus 350, plus 400-ish dog. So Matsumoto takes the first L of his career, and I'm curious to see how he rebounds in this one against a pretty underrated and tough fighter in Miles Johns. I mean, Miles Johns often cashes as a dog, and while he too did just come in off a recent loss to Felipe Ligma, who we know got absolutely destroyed by the Black Hole. We meatlocked Black Hole in that one. I think there's a lot to inspect from the odds perspective in this one, because I do believe Matsumoto is a hyped up fighter, but I also think Miles Johns is perpetually undervalued and perhaps even underrated. So in this fight, are you taking Matsumoto to rediscover his hype beast sauce, or is Miles Johns, similar to Rob Font, going to be too much of a levels test for Matsumoto at this time?
Yeah, no, this is a great fight. But I don't know. I don't know if Miles Johns has got this one, to be honest. I think Quasimoto's gonna get it done.
Yeah, what makes you so bullish? I mean, obviously he's coming off his first recent L. I don't want to say he got exposed in that fight, because he was competitive, and obviously Rob Font is a no-joke level assessor in the division. But what makes you bullish on this one over Johns? Is it the fact that Miles Johns just got absolutely smoked at his featherweight debut most recently, or give me more?
I just think he's a better fighter on the feet, on the ground, wherever it goes. I just don't know if Miles Johns is that guy, but I think Quasi Frodo is.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this one. I mean, obviously Matsumoto is the younger fighter. I do, though, think Miles Johns trains with perhaps a better arsenal of fighters over at Fortis MMA. So I think this fight could be close. I will ever so slightly lean Gene Matsumoto, but I wouldn't say I'm bullish on this one. And I don't know if I'd even be including Gene Matsumoto in parlays, because I think Miles Johns has way more life than the odds suggest. And even though 93% of Tapology is rolling with Matsumoto, and only friends and families roll with Miles Johns, I think he has a little bit more life than some are suggesting. So ultimately, I'll go Matsumoto by close but controversial decision. Are you taking finish?
Yeah, I'm taking Quasi finish.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you too think that Gene will finish Johns, because I mean, Miles Johns has gotten slept before, right? Mario Bautista did it to him. John Castaneda got absolutely smoked, and Johns failed a drug test. So always bad to get slept and fail your own drug test, but nonetheless, it's an interesting fight. So comment down below, you taking Johns or John? Swap us through them, Meatboy, because this one I think is also fascinating. You saw the intro, right? If you've been with Meatboy MMA for a while, you know anytime Andre Touchy Feely is getting a fight, we got to throw down bad vibes. And shout out Born Breach, shout out Bad Vibes. And I'm curious if this fight will be bad vibes for Andre Feely taking on C-Rod, who essentially was winning every single fight, but he's now lost 2 of 3, right? And he's known as the guy who beats the hype beast, right? This was the guy who took out Raul Rosas Jr. as a fat dog, took out Cameron Simon as a fat dog, took out the hype beast Oshin Bashi. I mean, this is a dude in C-Rod who demolishes hype trains. However, he's taken on a sort of other side of the spectrum fighter this time in Andre Fili, whose sort of back is up against the wall in this fight, having alternated wins and losses essentially since 2019. So, what do you make of the matchmaking in this one? Historically, we see C-Rod play spoiler, but in this one, he's about a minus 300 favorite, taking on an OG in Touchy Fili who has more than 20 UFC fights. Is there any life for Touchy Fili in this one, or does C-Rod get back to his winning ways and make light work of Touchy Fili?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bad vibes type of card, but I think it's gonna be bad vibes for Touchy Feely. I think C-Rod is the man. It is weird to see him as the favorite, so I don't know. We'll see how that works. But C-Rod is, I think, a better fighter, more complete fighter. He should be able to get this done wherever it goes.
Yeah, he's the younger guy, similar to the last breakdown, John versus Johns. However, there is going to be a reach advantage for Touchy Fili. Obviously, there's the experience advantage for Touchy Fili. I mean, Touchy Fili nearly has 40 fights, whereas C-Rod only has 15. So you wonder if the experience factor could play into this at all. And if you are taking C-Rod, where do you see him having the advantages? Because Touchy Fili obviously super well rounded, is no slouch in the grappling department, especially being an alpha male guy. But C-Rod just finds ways to extend rounds, win minutes, and seemingly gets better as fights prolong. So, what stylistically do you like about C-Rod? Where will he have the most market advantages against Touchy Fili in this one?
Yeah, no, I think that he's gonna have the advantage if it goes to the ground, and I think he'll have the advantage on the speed, but the power and the reach, he will not have the advantage in my opinion. So he's gonna have to really be good with his head movement, go in and out, or just take him to the ground. Because yeah, C-Rod is no joke, and Touchy-Feely's a big guy, so maybe even wrestling would be the move, but he's got to grind it out, outpace him, out hustle him, and stay out of his strike zone basically. Because Touchy Feely can throw absolute nuclear warheads if he connects.
Yeah, I mean, ask Lucas Almeida about that, right, Luke? This is a fun fight. I think it's an interesting one. I'm gonna have to ever so slightly lean C-Rod, though. I do think that he'll just be a little bit, like you said, more well-rounded than Touchy Feely, and I struggle to see Touchy Feely going out there and sleeping C-Rod. I mean, when we've seen C-Rod lose, he got caught in that bad submission to our boy Juicy J Arosa, and then obviously lost the dominant decision to Melky Costa most recently. But we've never seen him go out there and get absolutely slept, and I struggle to see a world where Andre Fili can submit C-Rod, and as a result, I don't know. I don't see many pathways for Touchy Fili in this one, so I will ultimately go C-Rod by decision. If you're taking C-Rod, does he get back to his finishing ways, or similar to his unanimous decisions that he compiled before this recent L streak? Is that what he does against Touchy Fili as well?
I think he will. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Let us know in the comments if you're rolling with the YOLO. Perhaps C-Rod has life as a finish for you. For us, we think it's a C-Rod decision. But swap us through me. Of all the fights on this week UFC Bad Vibes breakdown, the odds for this fight is most striking to me. Steve Erceg is a minus 560 favorite over Ode Osborne, who's plus 370. And not only is Steve Erceg a minus 560 favorite, which is already crazy, but this is his bantamweight debut. Got pretty much an immediate title shot, had probably the most competitive fight against Pantoja that anyone has had against Pantoja, at least in the last few years. And now he's moving up a weight class and challenging Ode Osborne on short notice. Yet the odds makers are still backing Erceg heavily. They're saying the guy that fought Pantoja was that guy. And even though he's gotten smoked in 2 straight contests since then, we still like him at a minus 560 favorite in a new weight class over a guy like Ode Osborne. So what did you make of the odds? Do you think that Steve Erceg is a little bit inflated? And does the fact that this is now a bantamweight fight scare you at all, or does that make you even more bullish on Steve Erceg?
Yeah, Erceg, I just did not like the way he looked his last bout, but I don't know. He definitely has some life in this, but I mean, Osborne's been looking pretty dang crispy himself. Uh, I gotta go Erceg on this just because he's fought in way better caliber fighters, so he has experience, knowledge. But I don't know. I could see Osborne getting this done also, but I'm gonna pick Erceg.
And to that point, I mean, we just saw Ode Osborne back in April, and the dude picked up performance of the night, right? He was a back against the wall dog against Luis Garule, who he got a beautiful TKO and performance of the night bonus, and essentially saved his career because this was a dude who had lost three straight. He had lost four of five, got finished in three of those four losses, and things were looking quite dismal for Ode Osborne. So it's a cool opportunity, I think, for him in this one, a co-meet event against a guy as hyped up as Steve Urseg. But do you think it's a little crazy that Steve Urseg, debuting in a new weight class, having lost three straight fights, is a minus 560 favorite, or am I just reading too much into that?
I don't know. It is pretty crazy to be favored that heavy, in my opinion, especially coming off a loss. But
Three losses.
yeah, but he might be that good. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps he's just that guy, and Ode Osborne isn't. And while Ode did get a nice recent finish, that was against Luis Garule, and the odds makers seemingly think Steve Urseg is not Luis Garule. So you'll have to let us know in the comments if you too agree with me and think these odds are a little bit inflated. But Tapology's obviously bullish on Steve Urseg, 95% rolling with him. A lot of Brown for the KO. They think that he's going to go out there and absolutely stiffen Ode Osborne. Do you buy that? If you're taking Urseg, is he going to go out there and finish Ode Osborne?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Ursak doesn't really have. He could, but I think this will be a decision. Whoever wins, it's gonna be by decision. I would be surprised if there's a finish.
Yeah, Meat says Urseg by decision. I'm ultimately going to go finish. I don't know. Something tells me that Urseg will find a way to land those long sniping punches. And the last time we saw Ode Osborne get slept was against Tyson Nam. And stylistically and physically, Steve Urseg is pretty dang close to Tyson Nam. Long, rangy, sniping puncher. So perhaps he can get back to his finishing ways. And due to Ode Osborne, what he did to Matt Schnell when he got that beautiful finish. And let us know in the comments. I'm ultimately going to go Urseg by finish. You got Urseg decision. Any last thoughts on this bantamweight debut co-meet?
No, this is a fun fight, solid fight, great fight for a co-meter.
Yeah, for sure. Move us over then. It's the Bad Vibes meet event. It is Fluffy Hernandez taking on Roman Dolidze. And when we were scheming meatlocks, it came down to, do we want to take CLD license or do we want to take Fluffy Hernandez, who is on a beautiful 7-fight win streak? He hasn't lost since 2020, and he's picking up 3 performance of the night bonuses. The dude is essentially going out there and absolutely smoking anyone that the UFC puts in front of him. However, the one thing that sort of held us back was OG Thermopylae 2020 advice. Never bet against a Georgian underdog. And that's precisely what we're getting in this situation where Roman Dolidze is a pretty sizable underdog himself, despite having won 3 straight fights and getting some beautiful finishes along the way. I mean, the finish he got over Kevin Holland was pretty impressive. And then to respond with an easy light work dominant decision over Blockhead after that, also impressive. So, what are your thoughts on this one? I know you're picking Fluffy, but does any part of you not want to fade the Georgian underdog? Because that seemingly is sage advice, but is Fluffy just that good and that advice won't matter in this instance?
No, I think Fluffy is that good, and I just don't think any of it matters. Fluffy's going to dominate from beginning to end. He always does. He always will. It's just crazy to see how often he does it.
It is crazy because the one thing that is straightforward is the fact that this dude never loses, right? I mean, he just keeps winning fight after fight, and I'm with you, Meepo. I kind of think this is going to be more of the same. However, I mean, I obviously worry about the Thermopylae Sage Wisdom not betting against Georgian underdog, and I do think that Roman Dolidze, I mean, it's now or never, right? I mean, this is his last opportunity to get a title shot that he's been clamoring for, and if he can go out there and get a win over Anthony Hernandez in a meat event slot on UFC Bad Vibes, then to me that could be a title shot in his near future. But if you're taking Hernandez in this one, how do you see this fight playing out? I mean, is this going to be a typical grindy decision where Anthony somehow is ragdolling the guy that looks way superior to him physically, or is Anthony going to go out there and snooze out a decision? Like, you're taking Fluffy, but how's he get this one done?
Yeah, I think Fluffy's going to grind him out, beat the crap out of him in either TKO or a sub. He is going to get a finish. 100%.
Finish for sure. 88% of Tapology rolling with Fluffy. A lot of bays. They think this could go all 5 rounds. I don't know. I kind of struggle to see that. And I actually like the Hernandez round 3 and round 4 finish specifically. I think that he's going to find a way to get this one done in those rounds. And I don't know. I mean, it's going to be difficult to pick against Fluffy Hernandez. And I seriously think that this fight right here is strategically placed 1 week in advance of Dricus du Plessis and Hamzat, because to me, the winner of that fight perhaps could fight the winner of this fight. And if all goes to plan, I'm ready for Fluffy versus DDP, or I'm ready for Fluffy versus Hamzat. And that kind of sounds crazy at face value, but it's really not, right?
No, not at all. If Fluffy wins this special dominant faction, like he has to fight Hamza or DDP, and that is gonna be a treat in itself. But yeah, I think he's pretty undeniably to be the next person to fight.
Yeah, and then we'll truly see how far Hernandez can take this. But DDP keeps winning every fight. Hernandez keeps winning every fight. Perhaps we see those two scrap it out in December. Let us know in the comments if you think that that is the trajectory that the UFC is hopeful for. And it's Bad Vibes, Meat Boy. Broke down 5. Last week was not our week. The duster in the dustbin. How do we do after this week, UFC Bad Vibes? Are you going 5-0?
Going 4-1.
4-1 for you. I'll say 4-1 for myself as well. Anything besides a 1-4 abysmal outing that we displayed, or that I displayed, I should say, last weekend. So let's get back on track. Let's get the CLD license full steam ahead. I'm going to be Glansburg next week before you're going out of town. Any last thoughts on UFC Bad Vibes before we say peace for a couple weeks?
No, bad vibes.
Black mask, wolf pack, tone deaf, faux death, hopeless, last call, street brawl, free fall, baptized, black ice, chastise, last rites. Hey, this sounds like